Ja, hallå allihopa och välkomna to this, a very rainy day in Portugal here for round 5 of the Season 5 Championship taking place around Portimao the first time on F1 22 and the first time since Season 3, if I'm not mistaken, to go racing around Portimao. It is a very rainy day here in Portugal for this evening as we are entering this sprint qualifying weekend, round 5 then of the NEF1 Championship. As Matty Adams is saying, rain all the way through this evening. We were talking about this just earlier, and well, no one was hoping for these kind of track conditions, but I'll have to make the most of it. It's going to be very entertaining indeed for us viewers, I would assume. So, rain all the way through the weekend sprint qualifying format this time goes. We have 17 minutes of qualifying remaining in total before we go to an 11-lap sprint qualifying race to set the starting grid for the Grand Prix. Also, the top 8 in the sprint score points 8 to 1. Reverse order, obviously. So P1 scores 8 points all the way down to P8, it scores 1. Then on to the Grand Prix, where points are awarded as per usual. 33 laps of racing action to determine the winner of the Portuguese Grand Prix here in NEF1 Season 5. Yet to see someone out on track, but I believe we are seeing a Ferrari just about to come out. Is Meki 5724 at his home race? He is the first one out on track. Is it home advantage for Meki? Said previously that he does hate this track, so perhaps not, but let's see what the track conditions are out there. Dreadful is the only word I could use to describe them. OG Kush is also heading out on track in his Haas, and the track conditions are looking absolutely horrid for the time being. Rain all the way through, and we have our first off, and it didn't take a long time at all. That is OG Kush into the grass at the end of turn 3. Watch this first sequence, especially now in the rain, as where BT's now coming through, and this corner especially is going to be incredibly treacherous. The uphill left-hander of turn 4, it's easy to lose your rear in the dry there, even more so in the rain. And also turn 6, turn 7 as we're coming up to, and then following turn 8 is going to be an absolute nightmare trying to get your car around and out of. It is where OG Kush is now coming up to. Turn 8 on the exit here, uphill, low traction, just manages to get his foot down and up the left-hander in turn 9 and 10. This is going to be a very tricky afternoon for every single driver in the league, and I very much am looking forward to it. So we are seeing quite a number of people now starting to come out. Snixor sporting a new lid, I believe, with devil horns. Snix, that ain't okay, mate. Seriously, get your stuff together. As Meki now has started the first lap of this short qualifying session. 14.5 minutes remaining as Meki starts the first flying lap then, and well, that camera did us basically no good. Through and into turn 3 then, hitting the apex beautifully, very much struggling with traction for the time being though, and these raining conditions. But it does look a bit lighter on the horizon, so maybe we'll see the introduction of intermediates come into effect at the end of this qualifying session. Let's hope so, just see that slight bit improvement in lap time. Purple sector 1 then from Meki, that's to be expected early on in this session as he's the first one to cross the timing line. And here we go then, up into turn 8, get your car turned in, and on the exit, very cautious on the throttle. Short shifting up to 3rd and 4th, get your power down and on to turn 9 and 10. Turn 10 I would imagine, very tricky braking zone. Not so tricky in the exit perhaps. Looks good and solid that. Just over a minute as we are entering sector 3 is a good benchmark time at. So let's see where his teammate Beat is at for comparison. Here we go then, Meki coming round the final corners, 126, 127, 128, probably landing in the 130s. We are landing in the 130.255 for the fast lap time of this session. Now where's BT and all of this? We'll have to wait and see. Also, if you're watching this from the outside, not a part of NEF1, just a fan and love watching our races, you're not mistaken, this is round 5 of the championship. Round 4 took place last week in China, but sadly I wasn't able to commit to my commentary duties. So this is round 5. We'll go through the Drivers' Championship and Teams Championship in just a moment. But as we can see there, Meki at the moment is 3 seconds faster than anyone. ARLJ not being able to get the time, and J-Mar is just starting his lap. SGF1 Gonzo, and current championship leader, and by a margin has more of a race advantage now. Does need a poor one this evening for everyone to really have hopes of catching up. The season's long, but it isn't that long. We're about a quarter way through after the end of this Grand Prix. So we are going to see the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship beginning to set a little bit in these next 2-3 weeks. Let's see where SGF1 Gonzo can place himself at the end of the evening. Snixor 32.011 gets a bit closer to Meki, but nowhere close enough. Darren Style breaks into P5 as well. Matty P3 132.607. Meki at the moment looks dominant here in the wet conditions, but let's see what Gonzo is able to do. Been the fastest in basically every race so far, and he goes faster by about 1/100th of a second. SGF1 Gonzo in a provisional pole position here in Portugal. So let's see, even J. Martinez Williams is aiming to help Gonzo out in P1. Let's see if we can make it a Williams front row. Umbrellas are out in the crowd there as well. As here goes J-Mar around last corner, almost spinning into the pit lane. That was well held. And he does actually get a very, very good lap in, even with that little bit of a traction loss at the end. He gets a 131.610 in. Question is, are the track conditions just getting a little bit better? Meki was the first one to set a time, and he set a 130.255. So obviously, even in bad track conditions, that's the time everyone's got to aim for. We'll have to wait and see what conditions like later on in the session. Wigan at the moment is going along in Sector 3. With a lovely looking lid, I must say. Evan round the last corner. Reckon this is going to place him about P4, P5. Better than that, P3, 130.955. And we got a couple of people into the 130s now, and one very, very close. Dart up into P4 then with that 131.298. Solid lap. So here goes Djokovic done. And makes his way up into P3, 130.799. He's getting ever closer. Let's see if we can start bringing that gap down yet a little bit more, as Danny's invalidated his first attempt at a lap. Let's go on board with Cool Ice Cube then, 102.595. Probably tells us it's not going to be overly competitive. Hybrid Ven, 102.09. Or JV8 does a, sorry, not JV8, ARLJ22. Formerly J22 Lolly, used to be in NEF1 quite a while ago. Does 131.154, so we welcome him back into the NEF1 family. As Ollie H saying, good thing I accidentally did a wet practice race. That would be Gonzo. So Jay is also, I was looking at the chat there, Jay's also ended up in the Walnut. Completely missed how that one happened. But currently this looks bad on paper, the fact that we got Gonzo and Meki so far ahead of anyone else. But the current field spread is about 2.8 seconds, which isn't too bad in wet conditions. So we'll keep an eye on that over the course of this evening. Danny's now heading out on yet another lap. See if he's fueled up for multiple laps. Obviously in the wet can get quite a bit faster. Just doing multiple laps on your set of tires, letting them scrub in and letting them honestly just get a bit warm, get up the temperature, and you do find that rhythm on the same set of tires and you do go faster. So let's see if anyone else is going to be going for that strategy of just doing quite a fair few laps. So we have J22 letting Danny by sportsmanlike out of turn 8. Cy Watts as well is coming up behind him now, I believe, through turn 9 into turn 10. And being let go nicely there. And purple's through sector 2 according to Danny, but I didn't quite see the split time. Foggy Fast is saying go Dart. Wonderful with the support yet again. Say we go through the last proper corner now. This used to be flat out in the dry. We're not going to see any of that this evening, I would reckon. Says GF1 Gonzo's now on an out lap again, finds the best. As Danny sets his first lap of the session, it's 1:31.268 with more than half the session expired. Gonna be hard pressed to get another time in, but now he is on that run, and let's see if he can just build up a bit of confidence and find some extra lap time. Surprisingly so far, Matty's down to P15, second slowest out of anyone, along with BT, two admins of the league, currently down in 15th and 16th. Only Cool Ice Cube yet to set a time behind. So those two are gonna have to hurry their pace. They beat off the pace by about a half a second down to the second slowest, which is Matty MC. Now, if I would have told you this at the beginning of the season, would you have believed me? I say no. Here we go then. Darren Style is on another attempt, currently in P10. So no knockout in this qualifying session. Just a pure whomever's fastest at the end of these 7 minutes to go will be on pole position for the sprint race. Sprint race in the rain, that is going to be also crucial to not lose too much. If you lose a position or two, might be fine. You do not want to find yourself down at the bottom of the field if you are starting P2, P3. This is a track where it's normally not too easy to overtake as well, and in the rain it's not going to be any easier. Darren Style not improving on this attempt. Let's see then who might be improving. Danny might be improving, and he does up in P4, 1:30.622. Hybrids at 1:30.945, and it's starting to get a bit closer up top. SGF1 Gonzo then is on another lap as well. The track conditions, in my opinion, are looking a bit better, but still not nowhere near intermediate conditions. Believe that what might be what Meki and Djokovic is actually hoping for in the pit lane, for it to just be decent enough to go on those intermediate. But as you can see, puddles all over the track. If you go overdose on intermediate conditions, might well auto-spin you. Fastest lap by a couple of thousandths of a second set by SGF1 Gonzo improves by 3,700. So 37,000, sorry. Wiggins 71 aims to get another good lap time in, 1:30.955 earned one. Just looking here, Cool Ice Cube sent to the pit, Matty and a BT out on wet tires. No one dares go for the intermediates quite yet. I reckon that might be the smart one, yeah. Just play it safe. Gonzo then out on yet another attempt. Let's see how much those tires have left in them, how much fuel he got. Battery usually isn't a problem under these wet conditions, can't deploy too much anyways. It is starting to heat up a little bit in the battle for the top 4 at least. And a little bit of gap down to P5 and 6 that are basically separated by 100th of a second, literally. Djokovic on an outlap still. And there is our main man for this evening, Meki in his home Grand Prix, then currently sat in P2, heading out on track yet again and letting other people pass. Good sportsmanship there from Meki. So let's go along with Matty MC. Crucial for him to improve by, well, a substantial amount to make it up to the at least top 10 is what he's going to be aiming for. Obviously won in round 3 in Saudi Arabia. Very close race between himself and Gonzo at the end there, separated by about a second in total, I believe. Even less than that. We were talking about giving Matty a 1 second time penalty for some, something. Just to mess with him a little bit in the admin meeting, but obviously that didn't happen. The race withstood. But that is how close Saudi Arabia was, a track which Matty considers his absolute favorite on the F1 game, I do. I think he quite rates this one as well. Back in Season 2 is absolutely untouchable here. Season 1, sorry. So here then, crossed the Sector 2 split, and he is improving by a little more than half a second. But is not a palpable Sector 2 time, that's for sure. See what Gonzo is able to do then, if he's out on yet another run, I do think so. So is Djokovic needs to get a good one in here. Might be challenging for provisional pole position with the time he's currently setting. In the lovely looking Aston Martin, must be said, maybe the best looking car in the game. Absolutely love the look of it. Here we go then, through the last corner, needs to get it spot on here, looks to have done so, across the line and into the 130.242, and it is so close, but so far away. Djokovic, only good enough for P2, and now Meki is looking at that gap as well, and he's thinking, I could just go a little bit faster here on my home track. Matty was able to break into 13th with that time, 131.807, but he's surely going to go for a couple of more laps here for the death of this session. ABT is on an out lap at the moment, but that one's not going too fast. So it'll be hard pressed for time, actually, perhaps, to get more than one lap in. Won't be able to get more than one lap in. Cool Ice Cube, crucial for him to get this lap in. Let's see then, Meki for what could potentially be pole position. We don't know what the Sector 2 split was. Maybe that's for the better. SGF1 Gonzo, 130.205 is the time to beat. He is out on track and he's not improving. This, if Meki does improve here, he could be getting himself a pole position without any surprises. Let's see, Meki up 3 attempts around the final corner, and he does improve, and he does improve by a massive amount. It is into the 129s. And by a margin as well, and that could see Meki on pole position here for his home Grand Prix sprint race. Gonzo is going to be gutted with that one. We'll have one more shot at it. One final run for SGF1 Gonzo and Crucial to get everything spot on. Wigan has made his way up in P3, 130.206. Absolutely brilliant time, 1,000th of SGF1 Gonzo. Set his time for first, so he would have been ahead even with the same lap time. A very, very impressive lap time from Wigan 71 Vat, who is putting in the work to stay with these absolute beasts of a guys. Meki, Gonzo, Djokovic. They are absolutely immense driving against. Here we go, and Danny as well putting in the work to get himself high on a P6 currently. Matty might have to settle. By appearances says yes, he will have to settle for that P14. ABT is going to have to settle for last on the grid here. Couldn't do any better than 133.012. SGF1 Gonzo at the moment is improving. This is ever so crucial to start on pole position at this track where it is easy or where it is hard to overtake Meki. Round in the final corner now yet again. He's not going to be improving. He's going to want to hold up Gonzo so incredibly bad here. Let's see if Gonzo can keep this lap. Djokovic has gone off track at the death here. Danny not improving so far. Gonzo is improving. How much is the question? Coming around the final 2 corners, might get a little bit of a tow from Matty ahead, but I don't reckon it's going to be substantial. Matty dives into the pit lane. Here goes Gonzo for provisional pole position. Who is going to get it? It is going to remain Meki. Gonzo does improve, but it is not enough. They're separated by less than half a tenth of a second. And Meki currently is your pole sitter. Let's see if that changes with anyone. Danny, he is improving, but he's going to be improving by enough. Needs to improve by almost a second to snatch that away from him. Doesn't manage to do so. P5 is going to be the best that Danny can do in this session. Hybrid's not going to be improving on this lap by appearance's sake. OG Kush, definitely not. Jamar is improving. It's up in P8 for the Canadian Williams driver. P2 and P8 then for the Williams outfit. JV8 is doing what? He's heading into the pit lane way too fast. Hybrid van not going to be able to improve. I think it's fairly certain to say absolutely not going to be able to improve. This lap is over and done with now. OG Kush is coming through. Didn't quite find the track there. I think he was confused by the movement of Hybrid just ahead of him. Wasn't going to be an improvement anyways, but that was a little bit of an odd moment. That was a little bit of an odd one, but that is the final thing that is going to happen in this qualifying session. It did end up being a very, very close one. Meki and Gonzo are the two men on the front row, and in that order, Wigan and Djokovic make up an all-Swedish and all-family second row. Danny, followed by Hybrid, former teammates from Season 2, makes up your third row of the grid. ARL J22 is lining up next to J-Mar in P7 and P8. Those are the last positions that are going to score points in the sprint race. Then we have Dart and iWatts P9, P10, followed by OG Kush, Snixor just getting edged out by his teammate here in this qualifying session. Gap was 2/10 of a second. Then we have Darren Style, JV8, Matty. Who do we have after that? After Matty, we had Cool Ice Cube, just managed to get ahead of a BT, who's going to be starting last. So then, just looking at the race director, thankfully, I don't think a single piece of damage was actually caused in that entire session. Bodes well for the races to come. But keep in mind, we're gonna be going to a break here in between sessions, so no one readies up too early. If you do so, you'll be faced with a qualifying ban. So no one ready up until admins go ahead. But there you can see the gap between P1 and 2, less than 1/10 of a second. So then here we go on the grid for the sprint race, and it is going to be a dry sprint race actually. Matty, your information was either misinterpreted or massively false, because we're going to have a dry sprint race, possibly a dry Grand Prix as well. We'll have to wait and see, but this is going to shake everything up for the races for sure. Let's see who went on the wet setups for the qualifying, who is under the dry. Gonzo has a wet setup on. That is the difficult thing with the league. We do have the approximate weather setting on. You can't take it 100% for granted that it is going to rain. It is a little bit of a risk. Gonzo might have been caught out there with that setup on. Let's see what he can make of it over the course of this evening. This is a track, to be fair, we might actually gain through a couple of sections with a wet setup on. As ABT saying, rain at the end, so the longer we wait, the more rain we will have. No, not correct. The weather's actually stationary whilst under these past conditions. But he's also saying definitely rain for the main race. We'll keep an eye on it, but we do have 11 laps worth of sprint racing to do. But before we get into that, let's go over the current championship standings. And as we can see, it is SGF1 Gonzo who has taken a commanding lead of the championship over Djokovic in P2. Has had a very good start to the season. But it has gone a bit unnoticed. Had a good one in Bahrain. We claimed victory. Absolutely unbeatable that day. But after that, it's just been those quiet but very, very solid results, and he is placing himself in championship contention yet again. Could he be the first two-time NEF1 champion? We'll have to wait and see, because Matty's there as well, closely followed by Meki. Only 5 points separate those three in the standings. Geitze Zero, not racing today, sadly, is in P5, followed by Snocken in P6, who's also not racing today. Good opportunity for Wigan and Danny to catch up and potentially get past them. J-Mar and iWatts makes up your top 10. Looking then at the constructor standings, and does tell a different tale. We have Aston Martin in the lead of the constructors on 104 points over Williams 101. Mercedes not too far behind on 90, and that could be the battle we're looking at for the entirety of this season. We are yet to really know anything about it. But Ferrari, with BT only emerging now a bit later on in the season, could be a struggle for Ferrari to catch up. We'll have to wait and see. Mecchi has placed them in a brilliant position to do so now. Hangs on BT. Red Bull in P5, followed by AlphaTauri in P6, not represented today apart from a reserve driver in J22. And that lineup is subject to change as well, with Haroldinho leaving the league. Haas F1 in P7, followed by McLaren in P8, Alfa Romeo in P9, and Alpine, the only team yet to score. Let's see if they can do so today. But then, that is how the standings currently look. We'll go back to the main screen there and prepare for the race to come. 11 laps of sprint race action is due to get underway in a couple of moments. We yet to have the announcement from the admins that we are going to get going, but I'm sure it'll come in not too long. Meanwhile, Ollie H, as alias is Gonzo, is saying it's a whole race win ahead. Indeed you are, mate. Well done. You have a very, very good start to the season, mate. Let's see if you can keep that over the course of this sprint race now with that wet setup on. It's going to be interesting. Matt is saying everyone realistically should have a wet setup on for the main Grand Prix. Seemingly that one might be rainy then. We'll have to wait and see, but they are going to get some dry running in here in the sprint race. 11 laps plus the formation lap will make out your starting grid for the Grand Prix and also hand out just a couple of championship points as a bonus. Predicted pit stop strategy, it's a medium, no stop. Race is gone, so gets loose on the beginning of that formation lap. Just manages to hold it. Mecchi taking the green flag and leading the field away on the formation lap. Everyone currently in the Ferrari sandwich. Mecchi in P1, ABT P70. As this man as well that we're currently riding with, Wigan 71, has won a sprint race earlier in NEF1. I believe Kota Season 3 was the occasion. Still waiting for his first Grand Prix win, and boy oh boy, if anyone deserves one in NEF1, it is this guy. Been an absolute legend for seasons now. He's been with us, well, for more than... Crikey's, more than 2 years now. Wigan has been with us in this league and the league that came before this one, and he's getting ever closer to that maiden Grand Prix victory. Is it going to come today? There is a chance of that, yes. Was very, very strong in qualifying here. Let's see if he can convert that into a sprint race or a Grand Prix victory. Djokovic is going to do everything he can to stop him coming from P4, and Danny doesn't know any of these guys anything. He will take no prisoners after the probably what he feels is a bit disappointing start to the season. He's going to want to claim as many points as he can this Grand Prix. Here we go then, everyone is starting to line up on the grid. Mecchi is going to be taking the outside line into turn 1, that P1 slot positioned on the racing line. No rubber there potentially, but it should be nice and clean for him, and he'll get the optimal line into turn 1. One of the few turn 1s where defending around the outside is actually the way to go, at least on the old games. Let's see then. Jay was disqualified from the formation lap, but still partaking in the Grand Prix, so don't worry about that. Cool Ice Cube and ABT are now lining up on the rear row of the grid. ABT, I think, did it too far back. As here we go then, we are finally seeing the red lights come on. Let's go racing, boys. There's 5 red lights and lights on the way we go, and Mecchi does get away well. Gonzo not so much, but he is going to come back. Mecchi switched to defend the inside line. Here comes Gonzo around the outside at turn 1. Mecchi goes over the curve, and that forces Matty wide as well. Gonzo takes the lead, and Mecchi got a bit lucky. Wigan, sorry, not Matty. Wigan just got forced a bit wide by Meki taking the curve there. Turn into early. Gonzo swooped around the outside, and that was what I was talking about. The outside is the way to go at that corner. It's already broken away with seconds lead due to the turbulence in turn 1. Meki then from Wigan, from Djokovic, from Hybrid. Dan is fallen back a place. ARLJ 22 has fallen back 10. So is Iwatts, Jamer and Snicks all fallen back a couple of positions. A lot of gainers, including Cool Ice Cube, up 7 positions on start. He's made an absolute worldie of it. Then 2 Alpines, P10 and P11. Are they going to score their debut or the maiden points this season? Let's surely hope so. Wigan now on the back of Meki 5724, being a bit compromised on the start. Does he have damage perhaps from the contact with Wigan earlier? Does Wigan have damage from the contact with Meki earlier? I'll have to wait and see what comes of it. Meki with a clumsy move at turn 1 sees him concede the lead of this sprint. Gonzo 122.242, fastest lap we've seen so far this evening, and might be one of the faster ones. Here we go then. Wiggins looking at Meki, want to go around the outside, which he's seen firsthand is Meki's weak point now. Meki learned the hard way that you gotta defend that outside, doesn't give Wigan anything. The error is going to be enabled next lap as well. That could shake things up a little, as we have J22 out of the track limits at turn 1. Got him going again, nicely done. Cool Ice Cube then. Strong start is now hunting down OG Kush for more points, or for 1 point. P8 yielding the final points finish here. Matty up a couple of positions, P13. But everyone behind him has lost a couple of positions, so it's been a relatively weak start from Matty MC so far. But let's see if he can get up the pace in this continuous running, as he usually does. Gonzo at the moment, I believe, was tanking a bit with his setup. Seems to be working absolutely brilliant in these track conditions, mate. Don't quite see what you were talking about. Hybrid now, getting an almighty run on Djokovic, which might actually be over until... No, not quite. I thought that move was going to go down before we got out of the final corner. Such is the nature of this track. He's going towards the inside, just couldn't get his car enough ahead. That corner isn't really one where you can dive. You have to be significantly alongside to make a move work there. And now Djokovic and Hybrid are catching up to Wigan, who got a bit uncomfortable coming out of turn 1, I believe. ABT's done well for himself at the start, up 6 positions yet again, though. A couple of the guys behind big losers, including Jay, Iwatts and Jamer, are the main 3 losers of that start. Snixo down a couple as well, but ABT on the fringes of the top 10, which doesn't really mean anything in these conditions. There goes Gonzo in turn 8. He has spun from lead at Grand Prix. Not the first time we've seen him make a mistake from the lead of a race. And now he's down in P7 with everything to do. Meki's been gifted lead of this one, and he does it again. He does it again. Hot tires, and that is Gonzo. Surely out of contention for this sprint race win. Now got to be careful on the re-entry, because there's Red Bull coming up behind. Yellow flags. Has to slow down a little, Iwatts. Gonzo now out of points, P15, and this could swing the championship massively. Meki in the lead of this one, followed by Wigan and Djokovic. And now this is a battle for the lead of the sprint. And Wigan with DRS now, perhaps. No, not quite. Lap 4 out of 11. DRS is enabled, as we can confirm. Djokovic and Hybrid currently affected by it. But DRS isn't strongest on this track. Let's see if it comes into effect. Let's see where Gonzo is. Has he managed to recover? Yes, he has. OG Kush letting him pass there, actually. Not quite sure why. Or the speed advantage was just that significant. Gonzo now, P14. What a way to swing this evening around. Gonzo had about 3-second lead in the sprint race. Sacrificed it due to a mistake. Just got into power a bit too early. And that is the end of that for him. ARLJV8 or J22, sorry. Has retired in the pit lane. He'll take a penalty post race for that. It's not allowed in the league. Djokovic now on the back of Wigan 71, who's lost touch a little bit of Meki. Meki with that crucial 1 second gap. Be aware everyone, there's a car who's going to be parking probably at the outside of turn 1. Yellow flags in that sector, which means overtaking is not allowed. And if that causes Djokovic to lose a chance at overtaking Wigan here, that is wholly unfair. Yellow flags have gone on to turn 2 and 3 now. Everyone be aware. All clear. Green flag conditions as Djokovic gets ever closer to Wigan 2. Almost makes contact. That could have been disastrous. Djokovic just managed to get his car slowed down, but with a lot more straight line speed there. A lot of closing speed as there goes. Hybrid actually making a little bit of mistake through turn 2 as well. It's going to be losing the position to Danny. Gives Djokovic the breathing room he needs for about a couple of sectors before Danny emerges to join this party instead. So where's ABT now in this race? He's currently up in P8, scoring points here. Both Alpine sadly out of points. Still Darmstadt very, very close to them. He's half second off them. Matty is right behind him in P10, and the race is starting to come to the former NEF1 champion. Looked like someone had a moment there, but apparently not. As we continuously follow this battle between Djokovic, Wigan, now Danny has joined that little scrap as well. As here goes BT and Cool Ice Cube actually getting very, very close. This could be a move that gets done relatively easy on the main straight. Let's go along round the final curve, and it's a brilliant camera shot actually. Thank you, game. Gets almost a bit too close through the last corner. It's a bit of lag on Cool Ice Cube's part. BT's going to be wary of that, but that's so he goes to the inside. He's going to have that done before the corner even starts, and he's up in P7, taking yet another point. 2 points currently for ABT's first of the season, if things stand as they are. Djokovic not being able to overtake Wigan quite yet. Meki at the moment doing everything he needs to close the gap to Gonzo in the standings. So is Wigan and Djokovic, especially Djokovic in that P2 slot in championship now with a massive advantage over Gonzo in this entire weekend. And in rain, could be even more difficult to overtake. Gonzo might be hating himself at that one at the end of this race. As Matty now looks to be lining up Cool Ice Cube for a pass here, perhaps heading into the third sector. It's a place where he can overtake. Not quite an attempt as of yet. Meki now has a 2-second advantage over Wigan. Will be feeling a bit more comfortable with that as we're more than halfway through this race. There's Djokovic now who is reeling in the old man. With the helpers on DRS here, Wigan moves to defend the inside. Bad move, Wigan. You've seen that firsthand. Djokovic snatches P2 away from him. Let's see if that scrap continues on for a little bit longer. Where's Matty and Cool Ice Cube? Doesn't look like that's going to turn into much of a battle this time. Through turn 4 then, and doesn't look like Wigan's going to be able to keep with Djokovic enough to really attempt any sorts of moves here. As Gonzo's made yet another mistake, cracking under pressure right now is SGF1 Gonzo, who might well be starting the Grand Prix in P16, and this is going to be a massive problem now for SGF1 Gonzo. Just making mistake after mistake, doesn't really seem to vibe with the car, and there might well be setup issues. Absolute collapse here for SGF1 Gonzo in the middle of this sprint race here. Ever so crucial sprint race around this track as well, where it is being shown right now that overtaking, whilst possible, not too easy, as there goes Jamar making contact with Snixor in a corner where you don't usually end up doing too much battle. I'm sure we'll take a look at that one after the race if it did affect anyone too harshly. Darren Style in P11, want to score points but might just be a bit too far away. Matty at the moment in the points in P8. As in between races I might have to switch out my batteries for my controller as well. Assuming I have some, which I do. Very, very good. Here we go, and ABT has gotten ahead of Dard in P6, now P7. Let's see, even things looks to have settled down in the top 5 a little bit. Everyone now outside a 1 second gap, no DRS has been awarded to any of them. Dard is now going to have a chance to fight ABT back heading into turn 5. Might he make a lunge here? You can make a lunge into this corner. Thinks about it. ABT is willing to give him the room. Dodd very well could have stuck a nose in there and made that work, but just opts out of it. Snixor now heading up turn 8, which is where we've seen a couple of issues so far this session, this evening. No issues for Snixor on that particular time. There's no points at the moment for Williams, and this might be a little bit of a swing in the constructors as well. They're going to be thankful that there's no Gaita here tonight to pick up the scraps of this as well, because if that had been, it could have been disastrous for Williams' Constructors' Championship efforts. Djokovic now is reeling Meki in, and we might well get a last lap showdown here. The gap is 1 second precisely. No DRS yet, but in a couple of corners, he's going to be within that 1 second gap and eligible for some nice drag reduction. Hybrid as well is getting ever closer to Danny. Danny only getting past Hybrid due to a mistake earlier in turn 2, I believe it was. Let's see if Hybrid can start challenging for that P4 again. Hybrid, who has the occasional absolutely brilliant race on his day. Hybrid, very, very quick. Just needs to nail the consistency and will be up there every single week. But he's very, very fast, Hybrid. Not to be underestimated. Now, here we go. The gap between the leaders, less than a second. As I say that, it's now more than a second. Let's see, crucial for Djokovic to get DRS on Meki this attempt on the main straight. They're not going to have too many more chances to set this one up, and he needs to start properly reeling him in. It's going to take a lap or two to get close enough to make a move, but he's not doing so as of yet. Meki doing everything he can to keep hold of this P1. Flashing light for Danny means overtaking time for Hybrid, getting him closer. Danny moves to defend the inside, made his move to defend. Might well come to regret it. Hybrid, is he going to swoop around the outside? Yes, he does. Brilliant move there from Hybrid. Swoops around the outside of Danny, can't really do anything about it. And Hybrid takes P4, but he does have a penalty. Maybe Danny just let that one go a little bit easy. As here we go. Things are going on behind Snixor. 3-second time penalty. Those are going to be added on at the end of the race and taken into equation. And they will affect the starting order of the Grand Prix to come. Don't want to pick any one of those up this in a format like this. But here we go then. Djokovic is now well closer to Meki. He's going to have one more go on the main straight, and he's close enough to make the most of it. Does he have any battery to play with? We'll have to wait and see. But this is the battle for the win of the NEF1 Season 5 Round 5 Sprint at Portimao. As we have OG Kush with issues in turn 8. Laz Gonzo up in P14, thankfully for him. Gap's now a second, but Djokovic is going to have that DRS to play with, but I think he might just be a bit too far back. Meki is going to start relaxing a bit sooner, because Djokovic at the moment doesn't quite look sharp enough to snatch the win away from him. Crucial for Meki now to not make any sort of mistakes here. 0.6 of seconds is the gap, and we'll still have one more shot at it to go. Perhaps coming out of the last corner if Djokovic can get close enough as well. You can make an overtake before the start-finish line. Not close enough heading into turn 5. Through turn 6 and 7, then heading into turn 8. Just gonna be about staying as close as you possibly can. Danny still behind Hybrid. Hybrid does have the time penalty. I don't think Danny's too asked getting into a battle with him for the time being. Just wants to bring the points home and claim P4 post-race. Snixor takes a position away from Dard. Is going to be perhaps scoring an extra point. Say perhaps. He also has that 3-second time penalty. Here we go then, round the last corner, and Djokovic is now close enough to Meki to think about a move, perhaps with a little bit of slipstream. Round the last corner, and you see him gaining. This might well be coming down to the line, folks. Is it going to be Meki? Is it going to be Djokovic? Is this going to be too tight a call? But it is going to be Djokovic, and by the slimmest of margins. 0.03 of a second separated. It is heartbreaking for Meki. It only cost him a point, but he won't be starting on pole position for the Grand Prix because Djokovic takes it by 300ths of a second. That is a masterpiece from Djokovic. It is unwritten in NEF1 history, a finish that close. Djokovic and Meki, well done. Djokovic takes the win of the sprint. He takes the 8 points. Maximum damage cost to SGF1 Gonzo in this sprint race. Djokovic, he is catching up. Wigan takes the P3. Danny P4 ahead of Hybrid in P5. ABT with a nice bit of damage recovery, as well as Martin Cool Ice Cube takes your last points. Double points finish for Alfa Romeo, worth pointing out as well. Brilliant for them. But what an end to that sprint race. Such heartbreak for Meki 5-7-2 Djokovic, just edging him out. There we can see as well, Jamar just missing out on points there in P9, as well as Snicks are in P10. But it bodes well for them during the Grand Prix. If they can keep those positions, they will be scoring a couple of points. Behind them, we have Darren Stahl getting very close to the top 10 in the Alpine. Let's hope for some points for that outfit this weekend as well. Iwatts P12, followed by Dodd P13, OG Kush P14, followed by Gonzo, who actually finished behind OG Kush at the end of it, P15, JV8 in P16. What an end to that sprint races. Here we go. It is going to be wet conditions for this Grand Prix. I am going to shortly pause the stream, going to about a 2-minute ad break just to keep the pre-rolls away for people joining the stream. We'll be right back with you in a couple of minutes for more coverage of the NEF1 Season 5 Round 5 Grand Prix around Portimao, Portugal. We'll be right back with you. Yes, there we go. We have been given the ready up by the admins. We are back for coverage of the NEF1 Round 5 Grand Prix around Portimao, Portugal. We'll be going in about 10 seconds of time there. Thank you very much for the patience. Finally got the pre-rolls off as well for hopefully the remainder of this evening. Probably not just looking at the timer, but for a little bit of time as intended. But here we go then, after the magnificent finish that was the sprint race. Djokovic, he's taking a damn pole position over Meki, who's starting P2, but the rain isn't coming down too hard and doesn't look like there's an impossibility of dry conditions this race either. Wigan in P3 did well to hold on to the podium place in the sprint. Let's see if we can hold on to it during this Grand Prix as well. Stan is going to be fast charging behind. Hybrid in P5, just losing position on penalties there. ABT and Matty both claiming that they are out of position. Let's see how well they hold up in the rain here. Cool Ice Cube P8, last of the point scorers in the sprint race, followed by Jamar and Snixor. Both drivers with a bit of history regarding each other as well. I'm thinking back to Bahrain season 2, but that was a long time ago. Let's see them make turn 1 nice and clean. Darren Style on the fringes of top 10 here in P11. If he can have a solid one, could bring home some points to Alpine. Very much needed as well, not to get left too far behind. Iwatts in P12, perhaps a bit out of position regarding his skill. Let's see if he can catch up to the front runners just a little bit. Dodd P13 is not going to be taking the start as per usual. He's going to be taking control of his car afterwards. OG Kush is going to be stunned P14. Gonzo according to himself here is out of position. Had a couple of issues during the sprint race in the dry conditions with the wet setup on. Let's see if he can do better in these damp conditions. JV8 starting P16 and ARLJ22 is going to be starting last of the runners. But for some reason, I don't know if I can tell if that car's solid or not. I don't know why. Definitely him driving it, but I don't know if it's a solid car, if it's a ghost. Nevertheless, Djokovic has lined up on the front row of the grid, so has Meki. He's going to be challenging down the inside into turn 1. He learned the wrong way. That is the wrong approach to taking turn 1. He's going to be opting towards the outside for the start of the Grand Prix, surely. But here we go and see if we can get a good look of this as the lights are coming on then. We have 5 red lights and lights down, away we go. Drive-through penalty for J22 for jumping the start. Djokovic gets away well. Meki does absolutely not. Back to P4 before we even get to the first corner. Now P5, just ahead of his teammate ABT, getting back ahead of Meki. But now Djokovic and Wigan in P1 and P2, former teammates. Hybrid in P3, Meki in P4, followed by ABT and Danny are scruffing away through turn 4. Now heading into turn 5. Is Danny going to send one down the inside? Yes, he is. Confident on brakes. Makes that work. BT can do nothing about it except challenge down the inside maybe. Trying to do a little bit of a switcheroo. No massive losers off this start. Apart from JV8, who's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty at the end of lap 3 at the latest. Jamar with a solid start. Where's Darren Style? He's doing battle with Iwas and now up into the points is the Alpine of Darren Style. Brilliant to see. As well, Hybrids doing well to keep Meki at bay at the moment. Meki's going to be frustrated with that start from P2 down to P5 before we even got to the fast corner, then back up in P4. But Danny's going to be challenging him as well for that position. We're having a little bit of action down between P11 through 14. There's a couple of things going on. JV8 is doing battle with OG Kush. Djokovic now, fastest lap of the session, 28.666. That a sign of things to come? I don't know. J22, crying out loud, is jumping into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Meki now right on the back of Hybrid as well. Surely's going to start thinking about a move down the inside in turn 5. He is thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Not quite close enough to make it work. Hybrid does open the door on the exit of the corner, but not quite enough of an advantage for Meki to make the most of it. Djokovic has the lead of the Grand Prix, followed by Wigan. Where is Gonzo in this? He is in P12. It's had a good start up 3 positions. Just getting through this nice and steadily, expecting the safety car over the course of this Grand Prix. Shortlist J22. There we got it right. Has had some problems coming out of turn 4. Gonzo now on the back of Iwatts. Iwatts is going to want to be holding Gonzo up as much as he can, because a couple of places ahead of them is his teammate Danny as well, but Iwatts might not be able to do too much about it because Gonzo's just found a gap. He's gone for it. Let's see if he can make it work. Not quite. He hangs it around the outside. Gonzo with some absolutely brilliant pressure on Iwatts now. He does it very well to keep composed and calm there. Maintains that P11. Let's see, heading onto the straight. Iwatts just has to run a bit wide. That is going to allow for Gonzo to take that position away from him. Now Darren Style is next in line for Gonzo to try to overtake as J22 is having problems heading through Sector 2 and into Sector 3. Hybrid and Meki doing battle yet again, where same place they did a lap ago. Is Meki now going to be more confident on brakes? He is not, but he does manage to get a bit more of his car in there, but he loses it on the exit. Hybrid opens up the corner a bit more, and he does manage to stay ahead of him. And now Danny is thinking about a move on it. I can't even see Danny. Where is Danny? He's on the inside of turn 8, for crying out loud, Danny. That could end so badly, but they make it through. That is an absolutely brilliant attempt from Danny DC, but it is so risky in these wet conditions. Could go wrong so easily. Sticks to the inside. Is he gonna make that braking point at all? Meki goes for the switchback, might make that work. They're side by side heading into what probably be turn 11 and 12 if I'm not mistaken. They're still side by side. Danny just has to concede it now finally, but he's coming back at him potentially through the next corners. J22 has retired yet again, has left the lobby. He's going to be taking double penalties for this evening then. Meki and Danny with a lap of battling there, unlike anything I've ever seen around this track. Absolutely brilliant stuff on display from the pair of them. Djokovic now with the fastest lap yet again, set a consecutive amount of them every lap so far. And here goes Danny down the inside of turn 1, perhaps. Down the inside of Meki, not quite, has to think better of it, but there's still turn 4 and 5 to go. And as Danny just showed us, you can basically go side by side with people anywhere around this track if enough care is shown. Brilliant stuff from Meki and Danny. Battle of the season so far might well be. Gonzo now has been able to make it past Darren Styling up into points, and his next subject is Matty MC, who did battle with a couple of weeks ago in Saudi Arabia for the win. Now it's for the fringes of the points, and Gonzo gets that move done relatively easily. Now P8 is the next target. Here we go then, Snixor next up for grabs. Then we have his teammate SFLY Jamer. I wonder if Jamer is just going to be holding Snixor up a little bit here, try to help his teammate out, secure maximum points for the team. Which Jamer totally focused on his own. Bit of lag there showed Gonzo going off track for a moment, probably didn't happen. As Hybrid's now actually been able to get past, Meki's been able to get past Hybrid up into the podium places. Djokovic continues to extend his lead at Grand Prix up to 3.5 seconds, making himself hard to beat here. Snixor now opts to do a little bit of battle with SFLY Jamar, heading into turn 1, round the outside, turns to the inside. Lovely little switch back there. Manages to go off track and they do make contact. Goes over the curb and he makes contact with SFLY Jamar, who's going to be absolutely furious. There's another car off. That is a big accident. Gonzo gets caught out by it. Now he's making... Now he's doing battle with Darren Style yet again, and that surely is going to be looked at after the race. Careless from Snixor there, hits the curb, goes straight into the side of Jamar, who I believe remains relatively unaffected, thankfully. Just losing a bit of time to BT ahead. Crucially for Jamar, though, that set back Gonzo even more than it has him. Gonzo now down in P12 yet again, has to start over. Does he have any damage to his front wing? Perhaps I don't quite Didn't quite see what happened to him. But his front wing appears intact, thankfully enough. What about Snixor? Did he sustain any damage from that? Did indeed. Front wing and play this off. We're likely to see him come into the pits at the end of the lap. Darts pressuring Cool Ice Cube as well for position in P13 and 14. So here we go. Danny's right on the back of Hybrid, actually going around the final corner. You can get a proper slingshot out of this corner if you're close enough, as he does manage to get, but it's hard to continue that run of momentum on the main straight here. Danny loses the momentum, builds it up with the help of some battery deployment down the inside of turn 1. Not the optimal line, but it does make it work, and that is Danny up in P4. Hybrid just going to have to concede that one for the time being, but it might be able to fight it back heading in turn 4 and 5. Danny showed a couple of laps ago you can make a dive heading into turn 5 if you want to, but I believe Hybrid might just be a bit too far back to think about it. Did have the advantage of momentum, but not quite close enough to make it work. Matty Van on SFLY, Jamar as well. These types of mystery as well from Spain several seasons ago now, nothing major. Jamar will have had enough drama for this Grand Prix now, just wants to get on with it and secure a brilliant points finish here, as Gonzo's now down P15, has had an issue. What has gone on for Gonzo? Has he come in to change tires perhaps? He has made a pit stop, Gonzo. Did he perhaps have some front wing damage that we didn't see? It's not impossible. Snixo's now coming out of the pit lane. Love to hear more from Gonzo after the end of this Grand Prix. I'm sure we'll look at that situation post-race in the admin meeting and look at it accordingly. Here we go then. Matty on Jamar yet again. As Meki's now right in the back of Wiggins one. This is for P2. A lot of points on offer now, but Wiggins just punching away a little bit on the end of this straight. And just keep himself out of harm's way there. Matty now right in the back of Jamar. Once again, Jamar just opening up that gap a little bit at the end of the straight. It's a bit weird how that happens. Matty looks at the inside of turn 3. No thank you, says Jamar. Continues on. As here we go then, Meki's now getting his way with Wing here. Up in P2, gonna start chasing down Djokovic for the win of this Grand Prix. Lap 7 out of 33, we're about 1/4 through. It's gonna be a long one this, but it's ever so entertaining so far this evening. Jamar opening up a little bit of a gap for Matty to work with, but not opting to do anything about it. Here we go then, through sector 3, you can make a move here if you're willing to risk enough. I don't think it's the wisest course of action for Matty to do so. Not in a rush at the moment, it's quite a way up to a BT. Wonder who's in the race with who here. Currently OG Cushion the points. Dermstall and JV8 just on the fringes of P11 and P12. Gonzo is running some impressive pace at the moment in P15. Everyone's going to have to be aware of that undercut. I would assume the optimum lap to pit be around lap 13-14. The track is seemingly drying out just that little bit. The rain is easing off, but it's still there. Might be into throughout this one. Here we go then. Matty's getting his way with Jamar now. Doing battle into turn 5. Matty on the outside, Jamar on the inside. Matty loves to switch back. Jamar knows how to defend one, and he does defend from it brilliantly this time. Gonzo, as you can see there, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, secures him at least 1 point this race, even if he finishes outside of him and does pick up a 3-second time penalty. It's not going to make his evening any easier, but there goes Jamar, just managing to hold that one, just staying in that fight actually. See if he can perhaps opt for a little switch back on Matty coming out of this corner. He does try to, but Matty with sufficient momentum, he's now fully ahead of Jamar for the first time in quite a long time. Has that position nice and fair. Jamar just getting a bit uneasy on the exit of turn 8. That is going to cost him P7, turns him into P8. Now Iwat's going to be there looking at that gap as well. Don't want to make any mistakes in this race. JMR dives into pit. No, does not dive into the pit lane. I think did he lose it that much? JMR still held it. My goodness. OG Kush now flying past iWatt like it was absolutely nothing. I have no clue how that happened. I would have loved seeing it because it looked quite funny. OG Kush somehow has made his way up in the P8 ahead of iWatt just flying past him. Danny's now pressuring Wigan for final podium place here. He was gone, so closing in on Kulicev by seconds per lap. Brilliant entertainment so far from the lads. Everyone currently watching the chat, everyone currently watching the stream, what do you think of this race so far? It's absolutely brilliant in my opinion. Danny now, it looks Danny inside of Wigan at turn 11. Make that one work through turn 13, now turn 14. Nice sweeping right hander in turn 15, last turn of track, and you can set yourself up quite nicely here for a move into turn 1 perhaps. Just get a little bit of a run on him, Danny, see if he can maintain this momentum throughout the entire straight, and he could be up into P3 if that is the case. Wigan doesn't move offline at all, wants the outside into turn 1. Danny's gonna go for it. Is he gonna make it work? Touches the curb and touches Wigan. Cannot touch that inside yellow sausage curb. It's gonna send you way wide and you're gonna be causing a collision. Dangerous situation that Danny made the most to get out of it. Danny had contact with Wigan just a couple of races ago. Don't want to avoid that. Didn't end too well for Danny on that occasion. Wigan came out scot-free. Let's keep with this battle. Danny getting ever closer to Wigan, a little bit impatient perhaps, wants to go after Meki as he showed he had the pace to do a bit earlier. Rain now seems to be intensifying just that a little bit. The gap between leaders is now 7 seconds. Djokovic running an absolutely brilliant race so far. So here goes Danny down the inside perhaps of turn 12. He gets the door handed right to him. Wigan still on that inside, but he does have to do some defending. Wigan surely has to concede that one. Still side by side heading into the final corner. Danny has to leave him a bit of room, but now Wigan's falling back. See if he can build up momentum on the main straight. Try to take this one back. Has the momentum surely. Danny moves offline to defend the inside. Wigan goes even further to the inside. If you're significantly alongside, the inside might actually be a good place. You can dictate the corner. Wigan now opting towards the inside, has the position back. Danny not being able to do much about it. This battle is going to go on for quite a fair few laps, I'd say. And it is turning into an absolutely brilliant one. Danny's an absolute treat watching today, the Fox. Surely thinks about a dive heading into turn 5, but opts to avoid that on this occasion. ABT Van is catching up too high, but the gap's less than a second. Doesn't mean a lot in wet conditions. No help of DRS in these rainy conditions. Danny's still so close to Wigan. As he gets an almighty run on the same corner where he made a move last time. Is he going to attempt one yet again here? He does. Wigan is going to be able to defend it. He's on the inside. Heading into turn 14. Going to turn 15. Identical to last lap. And now through the final corner we go. Wigan might be picking up the momentum to try to repass Danny right back on this straight, and he does so. And this is a battle that just keeps going on as they have identical positions basically to last lap. Wigan maintaining P3 here. Danny pushing him through turn 1 and 2, heading into turn 3, just going a bit off track. There might have been given a warning for it, hopefully not. Through turn 4 then, is Danny going to be able to build up any momentum through that corner and perhaps go for a move into turn 5? He's going to be able to go for it. Makes the dive actually. Probably running a bit deep. Is Wigan going to be able to capitalize on it? No. Danny makes the move work and he is into P3. Now he's going to start dropping Wigan a little bit, or is Wigan going to be able to continue that challenge. Looks to be falling back just a little bit. Wigan could have gone back for the switchback. Danny just had enough and said, this is my position, I'm going to have it, and now he is speeding away here. Brilliant little fight from Danny and Wigan. Absolutely enjoyed that one. Danny coming out ahead, 6.3 seconds now, behind 7.4 seconds behind the leader of the Grand Prix, Djokovic, who whenever he gets into the lead of an NEF1 Grand Prix, does so in dominant fashion. So now I've left session, let's get him right real quick. I'll be right back with you. As stuff is going on between BT and Hybrid now, always game battling around this circuit. Oh, as BT is losing it, and that is surely not going to cause a collision. Thankfully, ghosting is on, or it would have been an absolute airplane crash. BT then down P9 is going to lose a position. Jamar might well do so, former teammates these. Jamar with the tires in better shape. BT's tires are going to be absolutely F right now. Let's see if he can keep his car in shape through turn 9 or turn 7 and 8. Exit of 8 is going to be tricky for him. Jamar might be able to get his power down early, as we do see BT starting to slip a little, but he does maintain P9 at least. Wigan up in P4, Hybrid in P5. Sorry, Hybrid up in P5, Matty up in P6. OG Kush is having a very, very good one in P7 for the time being. He's having a quiet race, but he's having a very, very good one. As JV8 is right in the back of his teammate. Be silly for these two to start squabbling right now, but Darren Stahl just gets a bit out of shape, and that will trigger the racing instincts in JV8. He'll want to get past as soon as he can. Lovely little race this. Not a lot going on at the same time, but always something going on, which is nice as a commentator. Because you do actually have time to watch everything. Hybrid, I believe, has made a little bit of a mistake now as well, and he's fallen into the clutches of BT. Now not for P4 and 5, or if it was 5 and 6, now it's for P8 and 9. iWatts is having a quiet race so far as well, but he's having a good one, as there goes BT down the inside of turn 10. Not going to make it work. Hybrid retakes the position with relative ease. iWatts is having a quiet one up in P7, but he's having a very, very solid one. Run back of OG Kush is having a good one as well. Not a million miles behind Matty or Wigan, that's not far up the podium. So compliments to iWatts on this race. Not really doing a lot, just basically getting his car around every single lap and doing it without failure, which is really what you need to do in a race like this. And the person doing it the best at the moment, Djokovic 5981. We go with an ABT on Hybrid round the outside into turn 5. That is aggressive braking from ABT there. Hybrid just giving him enough room to play with to make contact. As BT goes again, not to the gravel trap. Has to be careful not to rejoin the track in the wrong place, or we're going to massive corner cutting penalty. Rejoins right before turn 8, and that sees him down P12 and now spinning out at the exit of turn 8. Right tires gonna have to be so cautious on the full now. ABT. Fried tires in wet conditions, worst possible combination. He's going to have to take it calmer than this, because if he approaches this corner at racing speed, he's going to spin. Which he very nearly does. BT calm now. Not quite. SJF1 Gonzo then having a quiet one as well. Pit stop phase yet to take place, but he has already made this. Surely he'll have to pit again though. This might be a point. This might be a race where Gonzo legitimately fails to score points. JV8 and Darren both with time penalties, but now one of them is in points. Dodd quite a bit behind, 6 seconds in P12, not having an overly fantastic race. Also a very quiet one. Now it's calmed down a little bit, this Grand Prix. JMR's on the back of Hybrid now for P8 and 9. Hybrid, who showed earlier, he has the pure pace to challenge even the top runners in the league, but it is sometimes that consistency that just lets him down a little bit, and that seems to be the case in this race as well. ABT is pitted to get rid of those awful tires. Mecky's pitted as well. Been an issue coming out of the pit. Ferrari. Prix does not have Mecky. ABT has a problem coming out of the pit, then I think. And now he's kicking off. Danny and Wigan in the pit lane. Djokovic not in a rush to respond at all and is now stuck behind Snixel's Ghost, who's not abiding by blue flags at all. Here we go then, Dodd right behind Danny. Danny coming out of the pit lane on a new set of intermediate tires. Oh, I'd love to see the state of Gonzo's boots at the moment. Surely they should start getting a bit worn. They were put on at around lap 4 or 5, I believe. Surely they won't make the end of this race. 11 laps old. 11 laps old. These tires last about 17 laps. Surely Gonzo's going to have to Djokovic then pits from the lead of the Grand Prix. So does Matty as well. Crucial to not get the pit entry wrong here. Djokovic is going to come out a comfortable P1. Djokovic at the moment, who might be, if I'm not mistaken, on his way to a victory where he's never lost the lead. Not positive, but it might be that way. We'll have to watch after the race if he ever actually did lose the lead of the Grand Prix. Still halfway to go, basically, 15 laps. So a lot can still happen. Lap 18 out of 33 is turning into a long one. That's absolutely brilliant battles going on so far. Yet to see any on-track retirement. Gonzo's now made his way up into the points. P8 with a time penalty, but with old tires. Let's see how those tires manage against these fresh intermediates on quite a decent track where not much rain looks to be coming down right now. Let's see how those boots really can perform. I believe ABT's had yet another problem indeed, and the race has turned into an absolute horror show for the Ferrari driver. Djokovic then lost about 1.5 seconds to Mecki, the undercut gaining Mecki some time, but would have had to gain him a massive amount of time for it to do any significant damage to Djokovic's lead. But Mecki is now on fastest lap of the race pace, 26 flat. as we now make his way past Dard, currently lead Mercedes driver, has been all evening long. Having a very, very good race in P5 so far. It'll be P4 when JMR decides to pit. But then Matty MC is right there as well. Those two have a brilliant understanding of each other as teammates. So see what they are. Target's probably going to be Danny in a podium. Whoever is likely to get it, we don't know yet. Even calculated BT suffering from something called blue flags. A familiar term for Ferrari. Sadly, it became a familiar term in all sorts of wrong ways back in 2020. 2022 was a little bit better. I don't think they suffered even one. Right now, BT is suffering plenty. Djokovic, fastest lap at Grand Prix, and Gonzo, 3-second time penalty, doesn't make his evening any better. And he might well be without points at the end of this Grand Prix. If he has to pit again, lap 20 out of 33, 14, 13 laps still to go. It's basically a tyre stint, and his lap's already almost a stint old. Surely should start considering going into the pit soon, as he's gonna lose it, and he's survived. Gonzo has survived that massive accident, and that triggers a safety car. And that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know what just happened actually. Have to review that. What just happened? I'm not quite sure. But the safety car has come out to the probably distaste of Djokovic to race his back on. So I've got to log something really quickly. So here we go then, safety car. I would assume no one's heading into the pit lane. Safety car is waiting after turn 4 to pick up the leaders. Lap 21 out of 33, anything can still happen. Gonzo will surely be without a front wing here, meaning he'll have to box. Unless he already has, which I completely missed if that's the case. No, he's completely without a front wing. Lucky not to have suffered terminal damage there. Having spun on the main straight. We are running reduced damage in this league just to avoid basically silly damage for minor contact that is totally avoidable. If someone makes a mistake, hopefully it won't affect someone else too bad. I would assume SGF1 Gonzo's race has been already ruined quite a bit due to that particular set of incidents. Let's even. That has seen Djokovic's gap of about 10 seconds almost diminish. Danny's now up in P3. Wigan and Matty are in a brilliant position P4 and P5 to challenge. The Alpines are riding quite high in P9 and P11 at the moment. They're going to be challenging Hybrid, trying to get a double points finish perhaps. As Gonzo saying his wheel just went crazy coming out of the final corner, just getting a bit of slip perhaps, and the force feedback started acting up a bit weird. So I'm going to report that Nixo suffered from a power outage as well. But that is shaking up the order of this race. 11 laps to go. lot can still happen. Everything can now happen. Basically, a race reset is now occurring. We'll have to wait and see what ensues of it. "92 minutes into this event, drivers are gonna start getting a little bit tired quite soon. Let's see how that corresponds. Lap 22 out of 33 even. Djokovic from Meki from Danny. Very, very unpredictable race so far, this. Very, very entertaining one as well. As I am just currently looking at the incident that affected Gonzo earlier. And it is safe to say that his wheel, it just went. It is a very, very weird one. Very, very weird one. But then, safety car conditions do apply. Now I'm gonna get back to looking at the Grand Prix at hand. A couple of people have made a pit stop. Has Gonzo got some new boots on? Yes, he has a new front wing. His output's P13. On the lead lap as well, he might have actually helped himself with the... with that safety car, but there is going to be an investigation for a procedural breach after the Grand Prix involving Gonzo. We'll see what the outcome is of that one, but an incident concerning race procedure is under investigation, will be looked at during the admin meeting. So then, Djokovic has lead over Meki, Danny. Wiggin and Matty are the top scoring constructors so far, P4, P5. I was in P6, followed by OG Kush, P7, Jamar and P8, followed by JV8 and Hybrid P9 and P10. Darren Stowell just on the fringe of the points in P11. Dard is placing himself in a rather good position right now because it doesn't have any time penalties, unlike Gonzo, Cool Ice Cube, Snicksaw, JV8, Jamar and OG Kush. The safety cars coming in this lap. Green flag racing conditions as Djokovic picks up the field. Here we go, and as soon as safety car is in the pit lane, he's going to be free to restart this race, basically whenever he fancies. How long is he going to wait for? He goes out of the final corner, pit lane is in, well, safety car is in the pit lane, not the pit lane is in the safety car, so I was about to say. Could have been embarrassing. Wigan then is on the hunt for Danny DC. Hard to overtake here on a virtual safety car restart, or on safety car restart. BT dives into the pit lane. Full lap down. I don't think he's overly happy with how this race has turned out for him. Going towards yet another no points finish here. Djokovic has maintained a good restart here and is still in the lead of the Grand Prix. Jamar so taking OG Kush for P7. Those two are going battling side by side heading into turn 5. Is Jamar going to be able to hang it around the outside? No, OG Kush just has the advantage. Jamar's coming back at him. And that is a massive display of straight line speed from SVY. Jamar takes back P7. Almost looks like a little bit of hacking there going on from SVY Jamar with the amount of traction that he was able to receive. Surely not. Hybrid van down the inside of JV8. As so the two are very, very close to making contact. They do bump wheels actually heading around turn 10 into turn 11. It's a brilliant little scrap going on between the two, Hybrid and JV8. A lot of respect for each other. And now SGF1 Gonzo is getting involved in this particular scrap as well. Currently up in P10 with some time penalties. See if he can salvage a couple of points in this Grand Prix. Just managing to pick Hybrid off perhaps on this straight. Hybrid now done P10, both Alpines are outside the points, but that can still change with these time penalties, and if they do have a good couple of final laps here, everything's still to play for. Wiggins still ahead of Matty by about 7/10 of a second. He is hunting down Danny for a podium here. Djokovic has been able to breach that gap a little bit to over a second and a half now, and I think it's quite safe to say that Djokovic is the would be the deserving race winner if he does manage to bring this one home. So, had an absolutely brilliant race, very much deserves the win here, but still a long way to go, about 7 laps of running still remaining. Up 25 out of 33, about to start lap 26. Djokovic coming around the final 2 corners now, and he's bringing the entire pack with him. Wiggin surely is going to start taking an interest in Danny, and he's picking up a massive run on Danny actually. Run that is somewhat interrupted, but he keeps that run sustaining, heading towards the inside of turn 1. Oh, touches the yellow sausage curb, sets you back. Danny goes a bit wide, keeps Wiggin in that battle. Had he just managed to get that corner properly, that gap would have been well over a second now. Wiggin compromising himself quite a bit through turn 1. Danny just having to go a bit wide for some reason as well. Didn't quite see why. Heading into turn 5, Wiggin doesn't attempt anything the way Danny did on him just a couple of laps ago. Sector 3 BT has continuous issues. As what do you know, is it Iwatts, Matty and Danny sharing, well, basically the same corner of track yet again. Wiggins in there as well, but I believe we've seen this particular trio combination a couple of times before in NEF1, so usually it's resulted in some quite good stuff. This isn't quite a track like Kota where it promotes racing the same way, but let's see if we can have something of similar sort here. Yellow flags, and I believe that is Darren Style and JVA to. Have they made contact on the fringes of the points? Have they made contact? They could potentially be the case, in which case those chance of points might be over here. JVA currently in P12. Hunting down Cool Ice Cube for the time being with the help. That was ERS, not DRS. Rain's still coming down. It is going to be wet throughout this Grand Prix. Jamar, 3-second time penalty. Gonzo now up in P6, making the most out of this safety car. Matty now doing battle with Wiggin, nice and fairly. Matty getting past that. Now Wiggin, has he sent Wiggin back to Gonzo perhaps? No, because Gonzo's doing battle with Iwatts. It's so hard to judge off this camera that I'm currently going off. Hard to judge for everyone else. We can get rid of that telemetry as well, don't quite need it. Here we go then. Last couple of laps, 6 laps to go to the checkered flag. Djokovic leads from Meki, as now Djokovic has to lap Meki's teammate, ABT, but it's probably going to go down without too much of an issue. Indeed it is. So here we go, Gonzo re-overtaking Iwatts then. P6 it is, and now going to be chasing after Wiggin. I don't think Iwatts going to be able to do anything about it. No, he cannot. ABT goes into the pit lane with a couple of laps to go. Perhaps just trying to slap on a new set of boots for the fastest lap. Try to salvage the points. Can remind everyone outside the top 10 as well that you can slap a new set of boots on and go for the fast lap attempt. Even if you're outside the top 10, you still score that 1 soul point. The fastest lap is currently being held by Djokovic, and it's a 25.424. Could be hard to beat. That's a very, very good time. Definitely not impossible. So you can see massive winner of this race, Gonzo and Iwatts, 9 and 5 positions respectively. OG Kush as well up 5 positions. A lot of time penalties to be added on at the end of this race then. Here we go, and Iwatts still on the back of Gonzo with only 4 laps to go now. 5 laps if you count this one. Gonzo's going to be hard pressed to find 9 seconds on Iwatts here. It's about 2 seconds per lap. It's doable, but it's tricky. Just looking at JV8 here, with that time penalty, he's not going to be scoring any points. Hybrid at the moment will score quite a plentiful of them. OG Kush could capitalize on Jamas and Gonzo's penalties as well. This is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. There goes Darren Stahl, probably out of contention for any sort of points in this Grand Prix, currently running in P15. They had a BT's lap down. They are sharing the same piece of track. As Mercedes have switched run, I don't know if it's by choice. Matty's now ahead, as he has been for a couple of laps now, and he's now catching up to Danny, potentially aiming for Mercedes podium here. Doing a little bit of that teamwork magic. Gonzo is also behind Wigan now. Gap's about 0.7 of a second. Yellow flags in sector 2 is just BT struggling. Jamar goes extremely wide. Just probably losing grip quite slowly and managing to catch it. It has to go a bit wide to avoid any major outburst though. As Matty's getting ever closer to Danny DC97, former championship rivals, current brothers as well. Former teammates actually for a little while in Ferrari in season 1, if I'm not mistaken. Know each other quite well, I reckon. It's gonna be an interesting little one to watch. So here we go, within 1 second is now the gap. We're on lap 31 out of 33, 3 laps to go, including this one. We are entering the final couple of laps now. Gonzo's ahead of Wigan up in the P5. It's a good recovery. He's going to lose a couple of positions due to penalties. Let's see where he finishes this Grand Prix. It's damage limitation now for SGF1 Gonzo. Meki looks to be finishing on the podium here in his home Grand Prix. Danny holding on for the time being, but Matty is right there. And he's gonna start getting impatient rather soon, but he's a very, very strategic man, this. This is gonna be a battle for the ages, potentially, and for the last spot on the podium. Djokovic has dealt with the pressure brilliantly of the restart. His gap is back up in 2.7 seconds. Can't afford any mistakes, but he is dealing with it perfectly. Looking hybrid as well is bound to pick up a lot of points here. It's going to be gaining a position on Kush, Jamar, potentially on Gonzo as well. It's going to be interesting to see what the final finishing order of this Grand Prix ends up being. JV8 at the moment, sadly just outside the points, and it looks like it's going to be a tough ask for Alpine to get inside the points this race as well. Final attempt for some of these guys to potentially go into the pit lane and go for the fastest lap, as Matty's now made his way past Danny, coming out the last, heading into the first corner actually. Matty seals the deal and take the final podium position away from Danny, who goes off track, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. So easy to do around this track, that probably cements it. Might well be a Djokovic, Meki, Matty podium, but in which order? I would assume this one. Meki quite a bit up the road. Danny going to be fighting this one till the very last corner though. No one having gone into the pit lane probably means Djokovic is going to pick up maximum points this race as well if he can keep the race win. Wait and see. Danny is right on his chuff. We're entering the last lap of the Grand Prix now. Djokovic is running final corner right now to start lap 33 out of 33. This might well be the longest Grand Prix we've had in the NEF1. Got away quite decent time. I think we're up to about an hour's worth of running time now. It's been a long one. It's been an entertaining one. It's been a brilliant one. All the drivers, please submit your thumbnail pictures in the Discord after the race. But let's go racing for one more lap. Djokovic leads Meki, leads Matty's your podium. Danny and Gonzo is your top 5. Wigan just behind might be taking at least one, potentially 2 of those positions away at the end of this. Hybrid looks to be taking a lot of positions. Potentially now Iwat as well with a 3-second time penalty. We'll wait and see what the gap is after the Grand Prix. But then, final lap of running. If I'm not mistaken, this has been leading from start to finish for this man right here. He's won already once this season in Bahrain in dominant fashion. He proceeds to do so yet again here in Portimao, showing brilliant pace. He won the sprint race at the very last second, the last thousandths of a second of asking, and he is going to proceed to do the same here again in the Grand Prix. Djokovic is placing himself in a brilliant position for the championship. He takes the checkered flag in Portugal. He is your Portuguese Grand Prix winner. Meki takes P2 in his home race, followed by Danny in P3. Is not going to last, however. Matty's going to have him right across the line, perhaps. Indeed, he does just take it on track as well. Matty, now separated by 4 thousandths of a second on track. Actually, Danny just finished that, but Matty takes P3 on penalties. Danny P4. Wigan in P5, followed by Iwat in P6. Hybrid P7, followed by Gonzo in P8. Double points finish for Williams, P8, P9, and OG. Kush takes the final point of the Grand Prix in P10. Decided more of that Grand Prix did OG Kush, but they get some points on the board. JV8 just outside 2.8 seconds. P11. Dodd Snicksaw, P12, P13. Snicksaw's race result won't count due to a power outage. Then I lost the last couple of positions right there. We'll go through it at the end. Gonzo gets driver of the day according to the game. The vote will be up in the Discord in but a couple of minutes as soon as the stream has ended. For the second time this season, then, we do have Djokovic standing firm on the top step of the podium. It's been an absolutely brilliant race from him. Just been remarkably unchallenged for the majority of it. Had supreme pace. Caught Meki by the end of the sprint race, and he just flew away with this victory. Led, I believe, start to finish. Can't get any better than that. Djokovic secures himself a brilliant position for the championship, and the title is well and truly on. As there we can see as well, Djokovic takes a win from Meki and Danny. Looking down further, we had, for the results of the Grand Prix, we got two Snicks or Cool Ice Cube, Darren Style, and Beatty finished this race 3 laps down. Then for the sprint race, Djokovic, Meki, Wigan, Danny, Hybrid, ABT, Matty, and Cool Ice Cube. And the final results looked at this. Djokovic, maximum points in this weekend, 34 points over Gonzo's 4. Gonna be very, very close in the championship now. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this round of the NEF1 Championship around Portimao. It's been an absolutely worldly of a race. Be sure to be with us next week again when we go racing around Catalonia in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. Usually a brilliant one here in NEF1. It's going to be incredibly entertaining. Make sure to join us then, same time next week on Thursday. Is going to be the 19th of January. Yes, indeed. Make sure to join us on the 19th of January when we go racing around Catalonia, Spain. Until then, have a good one, stay safe, and peace out. Congratulations to Djokovic on the Grand Prix victory.